One thing I did find interesting, I don't know what to make of it because part of me says, well, that got my attention a little bit, and maybe there's something there because what I'm talking about is that for the first time this week, and they've been meeting every day, but for the first time this week, Rob Manfred actually showed up and sat in on it. And before I make fun of him, let me just say it's not necessarily a situation where the commissioner's going to, especially him, get in the middle of something just to be in the middle of it, because all he does is antagonize people. All he does, that's like that's like waving the proverbial, red cape or whatever the hell it is in front of a bull. There's no reason for him to be there unless maybe something has turned serious. And then with that, another first-time appearance this week was Bill DeWitt Jr. Was there for today's sessions. I don't know what happened, but we all know that Bill DeWitt is, if he is not Rob Manfred's top advisor among owners, he certainly he would be at a table of four. Let's put it that way. And Bill DeWitt is very influential when it comes to having the ear of the commissioner. So my point, and again, I'm probably just fantasizing, at least I admit it. This is probably nothing but me trying to read too much into something. But it's just interesting to me where the commissioner finally shows up and Bill DeWitt's maybe not literally with him, but he also shows up on the same day. So I thought right away, well, is there some serious development? Because usually the big guns will come in when you sense that maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something to build on. Maybe they can move on something. I don't know. Again, probably fantasizing, but I just wanted to note it for everybody.
Mm-hmm. That, when you started out going, well, the only thing he's going to do is antagonize people.
Yeah.
It's
all he ever does.
Right?
It's all he ever does.
Wow.
So we'll see what's going to be going on. But, MLB, man, I tell you what, they still don't get it, and I can repeat all that, but maybe not today. I'm tired of it. I did write a piece. People want to read it. You can go to scoopswithdannymac.com and added some points about just the state of the game, because I agree with what Tom Verducci's been writing. It's like, we're all getting bent out of shape. Not all of us. In fact, some fans are really smart about it. They've just tuned it out. And you know what? That's really smart. But my job is to talk about sports, so I got to talk about sports, and this is a big thing in a so-called baseball town. When I say so-called, that's not a put down, but I'm just saying, everybody puts labels on towns, and we are a strong baseball town. So I do think people maybe pay a little bit more attention to it, especially if they got a guy like me who's willing to vent their frustrations publicly for them, But much bigger than these financial issues, which really doesn't affect anybody except the players and the owners, is the fact the game is in such disrepair, and the game that everyone's going to be coming back to, including the fans, is just so bad right now that I almost wish it'd be like, let's forget about all this other stuff. We're gonna take a fresh approach at this. Let's talk about the players. What do you guys want? How do you want to change the game? How do you want to make the game better? Because one of the things I was reading, did a lot of reading real early this morning, because I was curious about the players' role in terms of changing the game, changing some rules, whether it be a pitch clock, which to me should have been done years ago, whether it be doing something about the shifts, modifying them, outlawing them, whatever you want to call it, whether it would be something about how rosters are shaped. Maybe you have a limit on the number of pitchers you can carry. I mean, there's all kinds of things that would be in discussion. And, the players are going to have to sign off on any rules changes that are made. And I just mentioned a couple. There's a million of them potentially. But it's really interesting. MLB's got a situation where, they have Theo Epstein and some other people working on studying these things. And there's nothing against Theo. In fact, I think Theo's very, very, very smart. And he's a forward-thinking guy. And as one of the analytics-driven people that actually actually put the game into the state that it's in, that also includes the tanking. But, Theo, has always won when he was running baseball teams through efficiency, through understanding player value. and not just in Boston they made some mistakes throwing money around when they didn't have to, but that was more ownership. Same in Chicago. But Theo, ironically, one of the guys who put baseball in its current state in terms of the quality of play and the excitement or non-excitement in the game, he almost felt obligated about, all right, now taking charge, being the guy to lead the effort to make it better again, because he even realizes that it's gone too far. But through all this, you've never heard the players mentioned, and that's what I wanted to find out about. And I did a lot of reading, and I will defend the Major League Baseball owners and Rob Manfred on this one. I'll absolutely defend them, because they have tried to broach the subject many times, and they have basically invited players to form a committee so that they can bring recommendations forward. Now, I'm not saying that Manfred and the owners would listen to the players. We don't know. The relationship's pretty lousy, obviously. But the times that they have invited the players to be a part of this and to help them so everyone can agree on what would work and what should be done, the players have just expressed no interest in it. And I find that infuriating. So, these guys are on my nerves. I've been on their side, but it's getting to the point where they're right there on my damn nerves right now. I don't have much good to say about them at this point either. And especially after realizing, you can all divvy up the financial pie, and you can dish out the revenue to each other however you think is best. But you know what? You're all coming back to a game that is broken, a game that is dull, it is boring. It's people standing around. It's like strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. I mean, the base hits are declining every year. It's just like you don't care about fixing the damn game that's paying you all this money, really? Oh, thanks. Thanks for nothing, right?
Oh, it's true.
It really bothers me, as you can tell. It really, really bothers me. So who's going to fix the game? When is this going to happen? 10 years from now? How many fans are going to be left by that point?
Not enough. Right?
Yeah.
I'll ask you this question about that whole aspect. And I'm not, I don't want this to come off silly, but have the players been in the game long enough to realize what needs to be fixed?
I don't know.
Because a lot of them don't even know the history of the game. I'm not saying all of them, but there's some of them that just don't know the history. And I think some of them, for lack of a better way of putting it, they don't understand that walk, strikeout, home run is not necessarily the best way to play the game.
Well,
you know what I mean?
A lot of them have jobs because of the way the game's played.
Yeah.
You look at the number of relief pitchers used. I should say relief pitchers because they so many of them get hurt. You look at the number of relief pitchers that are consumed on an annual basis. They're just they're kind of fed into the wood chipper. I apologize for the graphic, but
no,
it's
true.
They're disposable. But these guys, their attitude is like, and I don't blame them. I'm certainly not blaming the relievers. It's like, well, I got to make money while I can, so give me the ball. I'll do what I have to do. They have no choice. But the number of relievers that are employed in Major League Baseball, and only a few of them make really big money or really great money, relative to other players. But there's never been a greater need. There's never been a greater need to address the supply for relievers because Major League teams, Major League managers, everyone is just absolutely addicted to relief, to doing the chronic relief pitcher thing, the hyperactive use of your bullpen. And, they break these guys apart. They wear them down. They cling to some stupid notion that, like Alex Reyes, who was just really, really, really off form in the second half of the season, and every stat backs that up. You see runners, you see managers like the departed manager, they still don't even realize that the guy's like pretty much a shell of himself compared to the first half of the season, and because the managers and other forces, combine to like burn the guy out. And then they're running him out there, with the game on the line in the playoffs, and they don't have anything, and they give up a 2-run homer. So my point is, But every one of those relievers, they love having a job. They love being in demand. They love signing. And the superstar players, they know that they're going to make they're going to make what they make because look at all the signings before the lockout started. Look at what Max Scherzer pulled in. I mean, he's not the only one. Look at what a lot of these guys pulled in, and look what these guys will be pulling in after the lockout, like Carlos Correa, Chris Bryant, people like that, right?
Yep.
So in that regard, the best players in the game are taken care of. I mean, they can have their cake and eat it too, and they can eat tacos or do whatever they want. They got it made. But, I do think it's stupid that people were sort of taking shots at Max Scherzer for arriving in the meeting for these negotiations in a Porsche. He can buy whatever he wants. If we're going to talk about that, let's talk about recently the owner of the Mets spent like $2 million on a painting,
Right.
So you want to play that damn game.
Yeah, I think that one's silly. I hate that.
Yeah,
argument.
it is. And at least Max Scherzer cares enough to try to help other players that are not as in a fortunate spot as he is. So I respect that. But there's a lot of people that they either know they got to hold on to the place they have and do what it takes, and they're going to appreciate it, they're going to savor it, they're going to treasure it as long as it lasts. And they don't really care about the rules of the game. In fact, the rules of the game may work against them if it changes, whatever that is.
Right.
And the big boys making all the money, I mean, yeah, they may try to lend a voice to it, but they're going to get paid the same. They're going to get paid $25-30 million a year no matter what the hell happens. So why would they care deep down in their soul? They wouldn't. So your point's well taken.
I don't. That's the only reason I brought it up is because, like, for instance, I'm not saying I'm smarter or you're smarter than they are, but we've seen a lot more of the game over the years. We've seen it played at different aspects, different, just the way the game's played was different 25-30 years ago. And these guys, most of them have no clue what that is. That's the only reason I brought it up. And then I read something this morning, Bernie, and it's probably been out there for a week or so, but I saw where Joey Gallo was like, well, if they're going to play 5 outfielders on that side of the outfield, then I can't. Well, that's adjusting for you then, dude.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the show the other day.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A lot of things in my brain.
That's all right. No, not at all.
Yeah, it's like, well, I can't rely on Joey Gallo to try and come up with ideas because he's just thinking about him. And he's a one-dimensional player, really.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. That's right.
It's just it's frustrating, though. You're right. It's again, all of this that's going on, and there's nothing to fix the game. It's just we got to divide this pie up, and if we can't, then nobody plays.
So the players, like I'm ticked off at them right now for that. I mean, just the stuff that led to this, where they were invited multiple occasions to participate in forming their own committee, where they would have some autonomy from the owners and they would make suggestions. They weren't interested in the process, So
that's wrong.
I'm not sure what they are interested in because. They're even though I'm on their side in terms, I understand they want to level out the revenue because the revenue continues to expand only because of TV, and all of these streaming platforms and ESPN and Fox and TBS and who the heck else am I? Well, of course the regional carriers and everything else. I mean they need product, man. They need content. So even though Major League Baseball is as boring as hell. All of these ways you can consume, sports or entertainment. I mean, there's a schedule to fill, and these whether it be a regional carrier, a major network, ESPN, or a streaming service, they're looking for content. They'll pay dearly for it. Even something as tired and dull as baseball. What they'll really pay for is football, of course, NFL and college football, and NBA, because at least NBA is compatible with the culture. I mean, the zeitgeist or whatever you want to call it. The NBA has that. The NBA, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I was watching Jason Tatum last night, and I was really happy. It was fun. I've been watching more games than NBA. It was fun. There's good stuff going on. I got to admit to a guilty pleasure. I'm probably going to watch the Sixers tonight because, yes, I want to see how the first James Harden game goes. I admit it at least.
Yeah.
So the NBA, even though I think it's too much reality TV stuff and posturing and, guys faking injuries to pull a power play, which is a big turnoff, but there are times where you really want to watch the game. You really think there's something colorful and interesting about it. And so baseball's lagging behind, and if it wasn't for their TV partners or their streaming partners, there'd be some problems on the home front. There'd be some big-time problems on the home front because attendance is starting to dip. I suspect it'll dip even more, and we know that they have a hell of a hard time attracting young fans, and that's only going to get worse. So I'm not sure what they care about. And for the players to, since I'm sore at them today, for the players to naively think that they're going to get back immediately, like Buster Olney said on our show not that long ago. For them who they got trampled in the negotiations, the previous negotiations, because the guy that leads the Players Association, Tony Clark, is just not very good at his job. And it's almost laughable that he's still there because he gives away the store. And then now the players then he and the negotiator, they're trying to get everything back in one CBA. It's like, okay, we gave the owners everything. Now we want all of it back. No. Did they not know who they were dealing with? Did they not know what Rob Manfred's background is? Do they not know how he ascended to the commissioner's job? Do they not know that this man lives and breathes just for the possibility, just for the opportunity to destroy players in negotiations? So okay, so let's give everything away. And then, now we want it all back. You got to give it back. Now, I can understand where a Manfred would say, the hell I do. Why don't you people, put someone in charge who knows what the hell they're doing,
Yep.
So they create their own problems. I have sympathy, it's more like empathy. But they create their own problems. Let's be honest about that. They do. And they're too arrogant. They have excessive pride. They're not going to admit it, but they do. Just by giving away so much the last time, they created a huge problem. And they can't expect to get everything back. So, and if Max Scherzer's dad's listening to me, he's going to be mad. I'll get an angry email. Sorry, Mr. Scherzer, nothing personal. Now, for some comic relief, I thought it'd be best to check into Twitter for a few minutes.
Uh-oh.
Our guy, Jesse Rogers, who's actually kind of funny because he sort of has this, when I say this, it's not a put down at all, but he just sort of has almost like this exasperated quality because he says, well, this is what just happened, and then he comes back 10 minutes later, and it's almost kind of like, and not very good. It's really funny. People ask him for updates, and he tries to be really pleasant, and he is pleasant. He's a good dude. But then he just breaks. Then the next one's always like, doesn't seem as if we can expect any progress today. And, you can just, even though it's on Twitter and it's only words, you just sense like the deflation in his personality or whatever. It's just kind of funny to me. But anyway,
yes.
Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Jesse Rogers from ESPN, like about 15 minutes ago, he tweeted, quote, negotiating team from the league just headed back in to talk with the players. Both sides have been inside Roger Dean for about 4 hours today so far. And then 15 minutes after that, his tweet is, quote, and now they've separated again. So it's just like, a fan asked him, any update on the meeting? And he says, no, but I don't have high expectations. So another friend of mine, Ken Davidoff of the New York Post, he's covering this on the scene. And he even took a photo. And this was about 1 hour ago. And we have a Rob Manfred sighting. I mentioned that earlier that he was there, but we actually have a sighting. And he's like sneaking around in the parking lot. He's like behind some white, big, huge SUV. Like he's like using it for cover or something. I don't know. And Ken Davidoff says, Rob Manfred walking back to the owner's side after spending about 25 minutes on the player's side, although we're not sure with whom he met. So, what is this do-si-do? What is this all about,
Yes.
Dance with your partner, now dance with someone else, do-si-do. Well, what is this all about? And I want to know how the hell he managed to spend 25 minutes on the player side without absorbing any type of bodily harm. Did he have protection? Did he have bodyguards? I need to know these things.
That's a good question.
And where's Bill DeWitt? I don't see any sightings there. He's there, but I haven't seen any type of reports on his participation.
Sorry to add to this, but
no, please do, because we're having fun. Please do.
Rob Manfred, this photo, I just looked at Ken Davidoff's Twitter page.
Yeah.
You know what? He said he spent about 25 minutes, or he might have been 25 minutes and then realized, I'm on the wrong side of the complex. I got to go back.
I need a weapon.
Yes.
No, it's
where are my guys at? These aren't my guys. I got to go to the other side.
The players hate that guy so much. I mean, they really, really do. And it's like that's one. And I promise you all, I ain't gonna rant and rave, but that's one of my big concerns about this. Where every time I think, well, look, they'll get this thing done, and yeah, we can then focus on baseball or whatever. But man, there is the players are like really in kind of the war mind mood. I mean, and they're entrenched and unified totally in their absolute hatred of Rob Manfred, and maybe to the point where it's not to their own benefit. That it's gotten really personal with them. And I don't know. The one thing I'll say about Manfred and the owners, like, I can understand why players would hate him. Don't get me wrong, but when the owners look back across the aisle, so to speak, I don't think the owners hate the players. I think the owners just want to win this competition and continue to keep the players down. I mean, they show contempt for the players, but I don't know that it's like a personal hatred. They show contempt for the players wanting to get more of their money. They're not going to. They don't like that. That's what owners do. Hey, did you see this other story today before we get into Drew Lock?
What's this?
Let's just put this in the file of why you can never trust an MLB owner. Because they lie. Frankly, they lie a lot, all the time.
I've never known that to happen.
So you remember all the crying, when they were even trying to figure out what to pay the players during the pandemic, before the 60-game schedule.
Yes.
And it was a very, very embarrassing display by both sides. You have people, not to get dramatic here, but you have people dying, and you have families burying loved ones and friends. You have people losing their jobs, getting hours cut back. You just have all this disruption in our nation, the world, but I'm concentrating on the U.S. And these guys can't even have any dignity whatsoever, the two sides, to agree on, okay, look, special circumstances, let's just work together. Let's not turn this into a spectacle. Let's just figure something out. But no, it became this big Donnybrook. It was just so out of touch with, what life in America was at that point. Just these guys growling at each other and barking and just making asses of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
And coming out of that, of course, the owners wanted to play that forward by claiming, oh my gosh, first of all, we lost so much money. You have no idea, the hundreds of millions we lost. And, oh, by the way, we don't make money anyway. We don't. Bill DeWitt said that to Frank Cusimano on this station.
Did.
We don't make money anyway. What do you mean you don't make money? Are y'all doing this out of charity? What do you mean you don't make money? We don't make any money. We just do this for the fans. We just own these teams. There's other ways to make money, but we're looking out for our communities. We're public servants. We own these teams just because we want to give our city a team and have Major League Baseball for them. And and it's just like, and was anybody buying this like ever?
I never was.
No. So let's fast forward to today. And I mentioned this before. There is one franchise that actually has to open its books. And every time there's an annual report, because the Atlanta Braves are owned by Liberty Media, they're publicly traded, they have shareholders. And the shareholders get to see the books, and the stuff's opened up when it comes time for the annual statement or the annual shareholders meeting, whatever it is. And the Braves, because of that situation, we know what goes on with MLB in terms of the bottom line. So in 2018, the Braves made $88 million. In 2019, it was $54 million. They did lose $50 million in 2020. But last year, they made over $100 million. And, maybe maybe an owner would have a chance to make more money doing something else in terms of investing than investing in a major league franchise. But then again, that doesn't even take into account, the franchise value and what they can sell it for,
Yeah.
When David Glass bought the Royals in Kansas City, he bought it for a really cheap price. I mean, he paid, I forget the exact thing, but it might have been like 80 or 90 million for the Royals, right? And then when he sold it 20 years later, he sold it for over $1 billion, So nobody wants to hear about these guys or, we're unselfish. We just own these teams because the goodness of our hearts, we want to do something for our communities. Really? They really try to sell that, right? So whenever the Braves have to open their book, we know that it's pretty much nonsense. And some teams do make more than others, obviously.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. You're right. I did see those numbers this morning, and I had the same response, Bernie. It's now, I'm not a player, but if I'm a player and I see that, how can you get anything accomplished with a negotiation process that you're going to talk to those guys later today? How can you take anything they're going to tell you seriously? I mean, that's where we're at. I mean, that's the reality of where that goes today down there in Jupiter. Whew. Frustrating.
Yeah, I think it is. And so just more on the Braves, just to expand on the point a little bit. So for 2021, they had $568 million in revenue and $20 million in operating income. But if you, when you factor in, you got to remember, it's always great for taxes, right? So
yes.
Yeah, right. If you factor in their operating income before depreciation and amortization, after listing a $53 million loss in 2020 because of the pandemic, the Braves made up for it this past season with a $104 million gain in 2021. And this is at a time where Rob Manfred's like crying about how, these guys don't really make any money. They do this out of the goodness of their heart, So it's like, it's just, this is such a clown show that that's why I'm just kind of laughing at it, especially on a Friday afternoon. Because to your point, like Rob Manfred spent 20 or 25 minutes with the players' side today or whatever. Yeah. And how many lies do you think he was able to tell in 20 minutes?
Yeah.
And the players, to their credit, I mean, I think they're well-versed enough in ownership lies that they probably, one of those smart alecks probably had some system, was probably in there pressing a buzzer or something, being a smart aleck.
Right.
Like every time Manfred lied, they were like keeping, they had a scoreboard going or something. Then not really, but I like envisioning that.
Oh yeah,
it's funny. So